I've been writing, and I'm going to, hopefully this will be out tomorrow morning, a look back at what happened when there was a massive Jewish slaughter of Palestinians 30 years ago in Israel, and what was said at that time. You didn't have all this namby-pamby, excuses for the terrorists. Israel and its allies and the United States and Jewish groups were out very clearly talking about the evil of this act, and that's what we need more people on the other side to do. We need more Arab countries, more Muslim organizations speaking out in the same way about violence against Jews.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Now, going back to Trump's comments, and the need for moral clarity, I do think that is something that Joe Biden has actually risen to the occasion on, at least in the couple of the things he said, his public statement, his interview on 60 Minutes last night. I don't know whether you caught it. I only caught some excerpts of it. Yeah. But he seems to have a very clear view of the moral stakes here and his historical perspective and in looking at the pictures of what happened to the children and everything and thinking of the Holocaust. It's the distance between the seriousness with which he is proposing this, and I'm not saying I'm going to agree with everything he does here. I'm not giving him a blank check in any way. I'm not going to join the rah club here. But the distance between Joe Biden's seriousness and his moral clarity and Donald Trump's narcissistic recklessness, boy, could not be more dramatic. And again, it's one of those moments that you're not the crazy ones if you're saying this guy's acting like a grown-up, this guy's acting like a complete buffoon.
Right. And it's not just that Joe Biden understands the moral clarity of the wrongness of killing Jews and that Israel is in the right to defend itself. It's also that he does something Donald Trump would never do, which is that at the same time that Joe Biden says that, he also talks about the Palestinian American boy who was just murdered in Illinois and Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. We have, and this goes back to what Ron DeSantis said. When politicians like Ron DeSantis go out and talk about how all the people of Gaza are anti-Semitic, that's not just like a rhetorical error. That has consequences. And I'm not going to draw a straight line, but there has already been one hate murder that we know of. After this, the sheriff's office says that they believe this is related to the situation between Hamas and Israel. A man murdered this boy, right after Ron DeSantis says, or around the same time as Ron DeSantis says, "Oh, the children of Gaza, they're all indoctrinated. They're all right."
It is really,
and Joe Biden, right? And Joe Biden has come out and talked about that as well, and said we must not do that. He's not doing China virus. He's not playing on ethnic stereotypes. Right. He's trying to stand against that and in defense of human rights.
And meanwhile, I think the odds are at least 50-50 that we will see a shutdown of the federal government because of the complete dysfunction in the Congress of the United States. I mean, if they do come up with some sort of a bipartisan power sharing agreement, which, by the way, would be incredibly countercultural. I mean, that would be incredibly not on brand for 2023 to have some sort of a bipartisan compromise. So if in fact Republicans do fall in line behind Jim Jordan, I think the chances of a government shutdown in the midst of this international crisis is way higher than 50-50. And I mean, among the many mind-blowing things that we have to endure, the most mind-blowing of all being the possible re-election of Donald freaking Trump, the fact that anyone would even contemplate shutting down the federal government during this particular period of time is just, but here we are. If only they had been warned.
Charlie, can I have a do-over? So last week we talked about this, and I said it didn't really matter that McCarthy was out, because Congress wasn't really relevant to the situation in Israel. Totally wrong. I was totally wrong, because all of a sudden, if you need appropriations, if you need money to be, Israel's in a better position than Ukraine vis-a-vis the money, but to the extent that Israel needs money, and they are trying to get an appropriation. If you don't have a speaker, you don't have a House, you can't pass anything, and that's a major, major problem. So we do need the Republicans to get their act together, among other reasons, on behalf of Israel.
And this is one of those moments of political crisis and of American weakness that is completely and utterly self-inflicted. No one is doing this to us. The Russians are not doing it to us. The Chinese are not doing it to us. We are doing it to ourselves, or at least the Republicans are doing it to themselves. And unfortunately, we are the collateral damage.